think there are no gangsters per se in this film, but it's the worlds. There's a whole world of Dongri with its underbelly. There's not a single explosion in the film, by the way. Nothing explodes.
To be honest, when I first heard it, I had my reservations because I'm playing a character who comes from Dongri. And Ritesh is playing a character who's an upper middle class pilot. So initially upon reading it, I said, Sanjay, are you sure? You're casting us right and maybe I should be the pilot. And Ritesh, he said, no, Fardeen, that's exactly what's going to work.
The character that Fardeen is playing and Ritesh is playing, did the swapping happen last minute?
What was very intentional was that he should come back with a shock. You know, that you're like, fuck, where's he been all this while?
As an actor on screen and then, actually working with him. So like, from a fan to like viewing his films
And now cheating on him.
Oh,
You're never going to escape that.
watch the film because
He said the bad words and the sex. He said there's no place for that in a commercial Hindi movie.
Well, right in the middle of the trailer of Visfot, there is a slate that goes, one day can change everything. And there are lives that go completely upside down. There is a lot of chaos, commotion, a lot of betrayal happening, so much drama. Joining me now, of course, the star cast of the film, half of them, nearly. The director of the film, Kookie Gulati, Priya Bapat joins us. Fardeen Khan, thank you so much for joining us. Delighted to see you. And of course, Sanjay Gupta, the producer. I still can't wrap my head around what is going on here. Too many elements to comprehend, to process. How did you conceive this one?
Actually, as Sanjay sir called me for this film, it was a script that he had been working on, and after Big Bull, he was the first big maker that called me and gave me the confidence that you made a good film, and he said we'll do something together. So when he called me for this film, actually he had set up almost everything. So he had spoken to Fardeen, he had spoken to Ritesh, he had got the script and then he narrated it to me. In fact, he had thought of Priya also from before that. So for me, it was actually on a platter. And then he narrated the script. And after that, his narration was just mind-blowing. I said yes, I think immediately then and there. There was no discussion. Of course, for me, getting to work with Ritesh and Fardeen, because I'd worked with Ritesh in Total Dhamal, and of course he was a friend of mine from before. And Fardeen I had worked with since Fida and Provogue ads and stuff like that, and even in Khushi and stuff like that. So I was actually a fanboy of Fardeen Khan. So for me it was just an amazing setup, amazing space to just be given this and handed and said, make this. So yeah, that's how it happened.
And it indeed is looking Visfot, very explosive. And these words are absolutely unmissable on the standees, sir, from the makers of Shootout at Lokhandwala and Shootout at Wadala. Your love for gun toting is all out there. Is this going to be the extension of the same?
Actually not. It's very far removed from all the gangster films and everything. There are no gangsters per se in this film, but it's the worlds. There's a whole world of Dongri with its underbelly. So it's Mumbai's underbelly is Dongri, and then you've got the high-rise, whirly, upscale world, and just a collision of these two. And there's not a single explosion in the film, by the way. Nothing explodes. So it's actually a explosion of all the emotions, of all the, the things that happen to these actually very, very nice people. But the things that are happening are not very nice. So that's what was interesting, and it's a thriller. It's just like the script was a page turner, the film is like a scene turner. It's just pacey, racy, fun, and that's it. It serves its purpose.
Fardeen, what is it like to be placed in this tale? We love your suave presence. We love your accent even better. So are you a complete misfit? A fit?
To be honest, when I first heard it, I had my reservations because I'm playing a character who comes from Dongri. And Ritesh is playing a character who's an upper middle class pilot. So initially upon reading it, I said, Sanjay, are you sure? you're casting us right and maybe I should be the pilot. And Ritesh, he said, no, Fardeen, that's exactly what's going to work. He says, you're coming back after such a long time. What new are you going to bring? People are going to want to see something new versus what they've seen. So it was a huge challenge for me. And I was pretty nervous, which is a good thing for an actor.
Yeah.
So I took it upon myself, based on Sanjay's conviction. And of course, I was lucky to have a good amount of prep time with Kookie, the way he saw the character. I took the help of a coach, Prabhat Ranganathan, to help me with the dialect and again prepping for the script. And so we did a lot of rehearsals with him, and Krystal and me also did about 3 or 4 readings. And he's not your stereotype
Correct.
Tapori character. He's
Absolutely.
just, an average, simple guy who's trying to do right for himself, for his mother, and he just wants to lead a straight path. So being authentic was, at the center of who this man was. There was no sense of, he's not anything that he wasn't. And being true to the emotion, being true to the written word, and what this character endures, because he's someone who finds himself in a very, very tough situation, and he's struggling for his life. So he's got no escape. So it really, you had to really dig in to show his resilience, his self-belief, and his courage, in spite of him being afraid of the consequences of what happens in this movie.
The character that Fardeen is playing and Ritesh is playing, did the swapping happen last minute?
No, it was always intended. Even when I met Fardeen, the whole point was that yes, he was coming back. The other films hadn't happened till then. But what was very intentional was that he should come back with a shock. That you're like, fuck, where's he been all this while?
And this was supposed to be my first release.
And this was before Hira Mandi and even
Yeah.
So Sanjay was the first person to sign me, for which I'm eternally grateful to you.
And just before the interview started, I was having this little conversation chat with Priya. And Priya, these days we see you all grey. Though you're wearing black, we see you all grey. Are you relishing it?
I am, because I think, don't you think that we are all grey? Like none of us are black and white.
Correct.
No, we are humans and humans are grey. You always, like Kookie sir rightly said in the previous interview, it depends on your perspective. How you are seeing that situation, from which point of view, you will feel probably that the other person is a cheater or is a villain or is a wrong person in this situation. But if you see it from that person's point of view, probably the situation will be different.
Okay.
So I think it's fun to play characters which has more shades, and where you can actually explore more about human emotions.
There's so much happening in the trailer, and I'm sure there's so much must be happening in the movie itself. And there is this unmissable element of betrayal as well, and it is shown very, very aesthetically. What are the challenges do the makers face when it comes to showing these emotions, showing these emotions that make us human, probably? What goes into that?
So, I was very clear to not see it. I can't see my characters as black and white. Unless the script demands it in such a way, which this is not the script. Out here, everything was very real. The characters are very real. Situations are extremely real. This would happen to you, or it could happen to your neighbor. It could happen to anybody. So it was as real and as organic as that. So I think that so you can show something very black and white, but I think this is very real. The characters are very grey. So for me it was, I had to show that. So even when you see it in the trailer and you see her character is betraying, but there is a version of it. There's a side of it. There's a perspective of it. I think that that is something that we added in, and we very consciously made an effort to show the other side of it, and not keep it black and white. I think when you shoot something intimate, the reason why it's turned out like that is because maybe that relationship is right. So I didn't see it it's how you're watching that the intimacy that where right now in the trailer you think, oh, she's having an affair, but it is a little more pure than that. It is more right than that. So therefore, maybe I looked at it like that, and therefore I shot it in that certain way, you know. So that's what I'm saying. So when you see something that's happening and you look at it from a different perspective, so even as a director, that scene, I think I saw it from a different perspective, and therefore I shot it like that. For me, I don't make up things. I let the script. It just tells me what to do. I genuinely am really that. If you tell me to reshoot it, I can't. It happened. That magic happened. That moment happened, and that's where it. That's how it is.
Fardeen, 12 long years, been a while.
Too long.
It was too long. That sabbatical, and there is a line in this one that goes, "मैं डोंगरी से तो निकल गया, लेकिन डोंगरी मेरे से नहीं निकल पाई." Something to that effect. आप बॉलीवुड से थोड़ी देर के लिए निकले, लेकिन बॉलीवुड निकला नहीं. Correct. So how do you resonate with that? How do you draw parallel?
This is something I love doing. I love being a part of storytelling. I love the process. I love the interaction between actors and directors and writers and producers and finally the audiences. It's electric. You know, it's difficult to describe, and it's something I've grown up around. It's what I know best, and it's something I love, and I've had the fortune to do something that I've loved doing. So yes, 12 years was too long. Definitely some regrets associated with that. But I'm also extremely grateful for, being welcomed back warmly by people who've followed my work. I've got very fortunate to get the love that I have with my previous two releases, and just to work with people that I've worked with before, and they've, I've always been grateful to Sanjay. When I was looking for work, when you did the rounds, I went and met everyone who I'd worked with before. Sanjay was one of them, and he offered me the script, this Visfot right there and there, in 5 minutes of our meeting, and I was completely surprised. So it's extremely heartwarming for me. I'm extremely grateful, and this kind of an opportunity to come back after such a long gap is pretty rare. So I value it greatly, and I'm very grateful.
What have you discovered? What has changed in these 12 years, apart from the fact that now you have paps chasing you all the way to home or wherever you go?
What has changed? Well, a little less ignorant. I'm a dad. I know myself better. I can see my flaws more clearly. I'm trying to be as authentic as I can and true to myself.
And professionally speaking, how has Hindi cinema evolved? You must have seen it outside a perspective. Perhaps you traveled a lot, and therefore
I was very cut off, but I'm still catching up. But just looking at the quality of the content, even though on some levels you can argue that the digital technology has been a disruptor for our traditional viewing format, which is the theatrical releases, but at the same time, it's opened the floodgates in terms of what's being written, in terms of the reach to all kinds of audiences. Audiences have changed so much as a result of it, because it's brought world cinema on the palm of their hand in their homes, and they have abundant choices. So I think we're all behind the scenes actually catching up with the changed audiences, and I think that's only a great thing. So that's why times are a bit uncertain. The audiences are becoming so selective and sophisticated, which is a great thing. So all of us have to up our game.
Any challenges you see that we must overcome?
Just put good, true, authentic, meaningful stories out there. Sanjay said earlier that the time for mediocrity is just out, and we all got to raise our game, and you just make truthful, honest cinema. And of course, some films are designed to entertain, and some films are designed to be relevant. Some films find that perfect balance. They're entertaining and relevant at the same time. But just make engaging. Films and tell stories truthfully, I think.
Sure. Sanjay sir, Kookie sir, how do you see, when I was going through the trailer, it looks sleek and stylish. It looks amazing to look at. Yet there are no cuss words. Though you're showing underbelly, there could have been regular elements which are like we have seen in, especially when with the advent of OTT, you can show whatever you want to, you can speak whatever you want to. But I think you have put a restraint there. Though you have shown underbelly, there are certain elements that are shown aesthetically really well. So in terms of evolution of your own making, how do you see that journey?
See, I'll tell you what. I guess the only film that I had abusive language in was Shoot Out at Wadala. And when it came out, and I remember there was a screening for Mr. Salim Khan. So Salim Saab saw the film and everything. And he came out and I was just standing there. He said, "Relax, picture to hit hai, tum chinta kyun kar rahe ho?" So I said, "No, sir, just, your reaction means a lot to me." He told me if we had not done two things in the film, this would have done another 40 crores.
Okay.
This was before the release of the film. So I said, "Sir, what?" He said, "The bad words and the sex." He said, "There's no place for that in a commercial Hindi movie." And that is a big lesson learned. And so we've consciously been away from that, because at the end of the day, we've got families are also watching those films. Why would we want to make anybody cringe? Correct. So if not needed, why? You can communicate an emotion without having to abuse.
Though you have Ritesh and Fardeen on the poster, women in your film are equally pivotal. That is quite evident in the trailer. Be it Priya, be it Seema Biswas. What do you have to say about that? The presence of women, their importance, significance, stories revolving around them as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a massive change. In fact, Sanjay sir, in fact,
thanks to Kookie, it's a first in one of my films where there are 5 very, very strong female characters, and we've cast great actresses in all 5. I mean, that's something that's never happened in my company before. So, yeah, I mean, and not because times are changing or anything. I guess we are just growing up a little.
Ritesh is not with us, but what a character he is playing in this one. Fardeen, you have worked with him before. How do you see the man change? Yeah, of course, he belongs to the Marathi film world as well. And his evolution in terms of this Hindi film actor also who's done exceedingly well via Laibhari. That means what a spectacular role. And of course now in his capacity of a big boss. So how do you see his journey, his evolution as an actor, as a performer?
I mean, it's common knowledge how versatile Ritesh is, whether it's romance or comedy, and he's even taken on some action. But in this film, I think it's the first time I'm seeing him play such a real character with a lot of authenticity. And he's done a marvelous job. His just some of his close-ups, he doesn't even say a word, and you're just so moved by it. So he's I mean, really, I mean, but that's a part of every actor's journey. They mature, they bring more of their life experiences to it, and this, of course, there's an element of a child who gets kidnapped, and it's his child, and him being a dad himself. I'm sure a lot of that has come into. Has lent to the authenticity of his performance, and he's done a marvelous job.
Priya, how do you see his journey?
Okay, I'll have to go back to seeing him as an actor on screen and then, actually working with him. Correct. So from a fan to viewing his films and
now cheating on him.
Oh,
you're never going to escape that.
Watch the film because it's not only about my character cheating on him.
No,
it's
just
much
kidding.
more than that.
Yeah.
And if I'm allowed, if I can reveal the plot line, I would love to, because it's just getting narrowed down to only one part of it. So I'm saying I've seen him as an actor on screen, just as an audience. Then I also know that he has done a couple of Marathi films where I've seen his action. Also, I've seen his direction through Marathi films, and I have worked with him as a co-actor. He is phenomenal. He is phenomenal to work with. He just delivers his performance with such honesty that you really don't have to take any efforts to perform. Just by his good performance, you will end up performing good. So I think it's just the reaction to a good action is the good give and take that happens on screen. And I obviously enjoy everything that Ritesh does on screen, be it comedy, be it action. And I haven't watched OTT yet for the Big Boss, but obviously the emotional journey that he has as a father in this film.
And the man on your left, he said that he had reservation while playing this one, given the landscape of it. But what beautiful arc in terms of Hira Mandi, then Khel Khel Mein, and now this one. He is like breaking the mold, doing something really different. Fardeen, thank you so much for doing that. Are these conscious choices? What's going on in your head?
No, they weren't conscious choices. It's like I've said, I'm just extremely fortunate that these varied roles and these wonderfully written characters and wonderful makers I've got a chance to work with, and I just have gratitude and I count my blessings, and I'm glad I could contribute in some way to telling the stories that came my way. So it's a great restart for me, let's just say, and I'm happy and grateful.
You are looking superb in this one, and you have crafted this one really well. We are looking forward to watch Visfot on 6th September. Thank you so much for this lovely chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.